Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Israel targets Iran's leading nuclear scientist working on the Iranian bomb, also strikes the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program. Iraq closes its airspace and suspends air traffic at all its airports. Barring one miracle survivor, 241 passengers and crew killed in the London-bound Air India flight crash in Ahmedabad. Former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani among those killed. Home Minister Amit Shah reviews situation at the crash site and the hospital. DNA sampling process for the relatives underway. Announcement on official number of deceased only after DNA testing. Rescue operation over at the crash site. Aviation Department initiates formal investigation. Government constitutes high-level committee to uncover cause and ensure accountability. US investigators ready to help in Air India crash probe. Condolences pour in from across the world. US President Donald Trump expresses grief at the tragedy. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer calls crash devastating. Canadian PM Mark Carney also expresses grief. And judge temporarily bars US President Donald Trump from deploying National Guard troops in Los Angeles. Some 700 US Marines were expected to support up to 4,000 National Guard troops from Friday. Our top story: Israel has struck Iran, targeting its nuclear plant and military sites. Israel said it has also targeted Iranian commanders and missile factories, its ballistic missile program and its Natanz uranium enrichment facility. Israel declared a state of emergency, with Defense Minister Israel Katz saying that retaliatory action from Tehran was possible following the operation. An Israeli military official said Israel was striking dozens of nuclear and military targets. The official said Iran had enough material to make 15 nuclear bombs within days. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a recorded video message that Israel targeted Iranian scientists working on a nuclear bomb in an operation that would continue for days.
Nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program.
Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called Israel strikes against Iran a unilateral action and said Washington was not involved, while also urging Tehran not to target U.S. interest or personnel in the region. Rubio said U.S. ally Israel told Washington that its action was necessary for its self-defense. U.S. President Donald Trump had been seeking a new nuclear deal to place limits on Iran's disputed uranium enrichment activities, but the talks have appeared to be deadlocked. The Trump administration has taken necessary steps to protect U.S. forces and remain in close contact with regional partners. All right, DD India's Akshay Dongre has more information on this. He is joining us live from Delhi. Akshay, Israel has struck Iranian nuclear targets to block Tehran from developing atomic weapons. Tell us the extent of the damage and also the impact.
Well, the complete extent of damage will, take some time to be gathered and compiled. But it seems this is quite a massive strike against Iran that has been but that was being contemplated by the Israeli Defense Forces as well as the Israeli government. We have seen the precursor to these kind of attacks earlier when both the countries exchanged missiles. We also have seen the kind of action that has been taken by Israel as, in Gaza, in Lebanon, and against operatives of Hamas and other operatives that are fighting against Israel. So this action has been there in the waiting, and now what we are reporting is that it seems that almost a full-blown conflict has started between the two, with Israel striking several nuclear facilities as well as military installations inside Iran. So now this is in fact a very, very classic tactic of Israel, Abhishek, because earlier when the Six-Day War broke out between Arabian countries and Israel some 50 years back, this was the kind of action that was taken by Israel, that you strike first, disable the ability of the adversary to strike back, and then you maintain a dominance as far as your armed forces are concerned. So clearly that was replicated here as well. And the kind of preventive measure as well as preemptive action that has been taken by the Israel Defense Forces has not only resulted in several of top military leaders of Iran being killed, but also scientists who are working on nuclear facilities inside Iran.
Hit first and hit hard, that's the policy Israel follows. But Akshay, US has also issued a statement saying we are not involved in strikes. How do we see the statement of US Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying that Iran should not target US interest or personnel?
Well, Abhishek, as per our assessment, this seems like a very balanced statement coming in. So it is in three parts. So first is that you are denying that you had no role to play in it, so that your assets cannot be targeted. Second part of this statement is that is the warning that is being given to Iran, that do not target US personnel or US forces. We were not involved in this unilateral action by Israel. And the third one is also, in a way cover up for Israel, that Israel had informed the US that it was an existential threat to the country, and that is why attack has been carried out by Israel. So in a way, legitimizing the attack that has been carried out by the Israeli forces against Iran. So as far as US involvement is concerned, it's not there right now immediately. But the statement that says that do not target any US personnel. So while the US and Israeli military work in very close coordination, if there is an attack carried out by Iran, distinguish between the US or the Israeli force, and once any the US target is hit or US personnel is killed in action, then it gives the US a chance to rather get inside the conflict and say that yes, see, we stated that we were not part of this action. We also warned you, do not target our officials or personnel, but you did the same anyway. So now we have the right to strike you back as far as US is concerned. So it's a very, very complicated statement coming in from the US. It's denial and approval all at the same time. So it remains to be seen what ramification it will have as far as the conflict is concerned.
And Iran could also retaliate, and the strike has raised fears
of it is going to
further escalation. But Akshay, they are the most powerful militaries in the Middle East, isn't it?
Well, who are you referring to, Abhishek?
I'm both saying Iran and Israel, powerful militaries in the Middle East.
Absolutely. See, while Israel has the backing of US directly, and US is obviously the sole power as far as a net security provider is concerned to several of the Arabian countries, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and many others. Iran is also no weak player when it comes to the global security, especially in that particular region, providing a net security cover. It is allied with several of the countries like the Houthis in Yemen. Several of their armed militias are already operating in the region. They are good friends with several of the countries who are against Israel. So this entire conflict is more dangerous, even than the kind of conflict that broke out between India and Pakistan, because both the countries have nuclear weapons, so there is a nuclear deterrence. So there is a limit to which one country can go when it comes to striking the other one. But sure, while it's not officially agreed by the Israeli government or the Israeli authorities, but Israel, according to many sources, has nuclear weapons in the region. So the balance of power is heavily tilted in Israel's direction, because it also has support of the US. Many of the countries there will not say anything to Israel because of the US. So Iran will have a tough fight as far as Israel is concerned, especially given the fact that they have already carried out preemptive action in the region.
All right, Akshay, we'll live to that. Thank you for getting us the latest on this story. Shifting focus, the Air India plane bound for London's Gatwick Airport crashed moments after taking off in Ahmedabad on Thursday. The 787 Dreamliner aircraft took off at 1:38 p.m. local time and crashed just 5 minutes after takeoff in a residential area. The plane crashed onto a medical college hostel during lunch hour. Air India said 241 people on board the flight died, and the sole survivor, a British national of Indian origin, is in hospital. He was in seat 11A next to an emergency exit. Meanwhile, DNA sampling process for the relatives is being taken up, and the official number of deceased will be declared only after the completion of DNA testing. The rescue operation at the crash site in Ahmedabad has been completed. A team of 45 doctors for DNA procedures, 2 SDRF teams, 2 NDRF teams, 85 fire personnel, the full AMC team and over 75 ambulances were deployed for emergency response. The Home Minister Amit Shah held a high-level meeting and obtained detailed information regarding the entire incident. The minister reviewed the rescue and relief operations and directed that the government provide all necessary assistance to the affected families. He stated that the injured should receive immediate medical attention and assured that every stage from DNA sample collection for the deceased and the families to identification and the safe return of mortal remains to their respective homes would be fully supported by the government. Home Minister personally visited the accident site to assess the situation and the hospital to inquire about the condition of the injured. And Union Home Minister Amit Shah addressed media following the Air India plane crash in Ahmedabad. He stated that immediately after receiving news of the accident, the Home Department's control room, the Civil Aviation Ministry and the Gujarat government coordinated efforts and launched rescue operations.
10 ही मिनटों में हादसे के भारत सरकार के पास सूचना पहुंची। तुरंत ही मैंने मुख्यमंत्री जी, यहाँ के गृह मंत्री, होम डिपार्टमेंट के कंट्रोल रूम, सिविल एविएशन डिपार्टमेंट, सिविल एविएशन मंत्री, सभी से संपर्क किया। प्रधानमंत्री जी का भी तुरंत ही फोन आ गया और भारत सरकार और गुजरात सरकार के सभी डिपार्टमेंट एक साथ होकर राहत और बचाव कार्य में लगे। एविएशन डिपार्टमेंट ने अपनी जांच शुरू कर दी है और जांच तेजी से आगे बढ़े, इसके लिए भी एविएशन मंत्री जी ने सूचनाएं दी हैं।
And the Home Minister also mentioned one survivor from the crash who was on board the plane. He also announced that process of DNA sampling is underway. He further added that Prime Minister Modi and the entire nation stand in solidarity with the bereaved families, expressing deep condolences for the victims of this tragic incident.
इस विमान में कुल मिलाकर 230 यात्री देश के और विदेश के और 12 क्रू मेंबर सवार थे। इसमें से एक यात्री का बचने का अच्छा समाचार मिला है। मैं उनको मिलकर आया हूं। मैं घटना स्थान पर भी जाकर आया हूं। सारे यात्रियों के मृतदेह को बाहर निकालने का काम लगभग समाप्त हो चुका है। जितने यात्रियों के परिजन यहाँ पहुँच चुके हैं वो सबका डीएनए लेने की कार्यवाही भी 2-3 घंटों में समाप्त हो जाएगी। विदेश में जिनके परिजन हैं उनको सूचना देने की कार्यवाही समाप्त हो चुकी है और जैसे ही पहुंचते हैं उनके भी डीएनए सैंपल लिए जाएंगे और मृतदेहों की पहचान के लिए जितने मृतदेह मिले हैं इनके भी डीएनए सैंपल लेने की कार्यवाही समाप्त हो चुकी है। गुजरात में ही लगभग 1000 के आसपास डीएनए टेस्ट करने पड़ेंगे। ये सभी टेस्ट करने की क्षमता गुजरात में विकसित है, तो डीएनए टेस्टिंग के लिए कहीं गुजरात के बाहर जाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी।
Home Minister Amit Shah visited the hospital and met the passengers who were injured in the plane crash. After meeting the injured in the hospital, Home Minister Amit Shah held an emergency meeting in State Guest House. In this meeting, the Union Home Minister reviewed the rescue and relief operations and issued necessary instructions to the concerned officials. During the meeting, the Civil Aviation Department, DGCA, Health Department, Police Administration and the Relief Commissioner provided the Union Home Minister with complete information regarding the entire sequence of events of the flight accident, rescue and relief operations and health-related services. During the meeting, it was informed that the state government initiated immediate relief and rescue operations following the incident. In the meeting, Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu, Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, along with other state ministers and higher officials were present in the meeting. Earlier, Union Minister of Civil Aviation Ram Mohan Naidu Kinjarapu took stock of the situation at the Air India plane crash site. He reviewed the ongoing rescue and relief operations and coordinating with officials from DGCA, AAI, Air India, NDRF and the local administration to ensure all necessary support is being provided. An operation control room has been activated at the Ministry of Civil Aviation to coordinate all details with contact details 011-246-10843 and 9650-391-859.
Totally shaken by the incident that has happened today near Ahmedabad airport. Very tragic and very horrific, and even till now I have to say I'm in a state of shock. When the event happened, I was in Vijayawada doing the review of that airport and attending one state program, but the moment I got to know this incident happened, I wanted to be here physically at the site, try to find out more about what happened and what needs to be done. And also Honorable PM has called me and also told me to be there at the site and also look into the operations which is going on right now. And right now, if you ask me, I can only think about the passengers, their families, what they might be going through, and especially the civilians also who are there near the crash site. A lot of relief effort has been done already, right from Indian Army, NDRF, state police, medical departments, including aviation concerned departments. Everyone has attended immediately. The fire department, to the best of their abilities, they have been functioning here and doing the rescue operations. And we still have to find out the numbers. I don't want to put any wrong numbers to you, so we still have to go through the numbers. And my condolences, my prayers, my thoughts with the families of the bereaved. And we are trying to extend all the help that can be done. I'm just thinking about the families and the passengers who are there. It's a great loss.
And the government has initiated a formal investigation into the tragic Air India plane crash in Ahmedabad that took place on Thursday. Civil Aviation Minister said, and I quote him here, following the tragic incident in Ahmedabad, a formal investigation has been initiated by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau in line with international protocols set by the International Civil Aviation Organization. Additionally, the government is constituting a high-level committee comprising experts from multiple disciplines to examine the matter in detail. The committee will work to strengthen aviation safety and prevent such incidents in future. Meanwhile, a U.S. government agency, NTSB, that investigates civil aviation accidents said it would be leading a team of American investigators to India to assist in the investigation of the tragic Air India crash in Ahmedabad. The National Transportation Safety Board is an independent U.S. government investigative agency responsible for civil transportation accident investigations. NTSB said in a post on X that it will be leading a team of U.S. investigators traveling to India to assist the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. As per international protocols under the International Civil Aviation Organization's Annex 13, all information on the investigation will be provided to the NTSB by the Indian government. Also, the top U.S. aviation body, the Federal Aviation Administration, is in contact with the NTSB regarding the Ahmedabad plane crash. All right, we'll go across to Ahmedabad now. DD India's Meghna Dev joins us to give us more information on this. Meghna, Home Minister Amit Shah took stock of the situation. Yesterday, he held meetings with CM of Gujarat and the Civil Aviation Minister too. Investigation has also started. US and UK will be assisting, but the plane's black box will be crucial in determining the cause of the crash. First of all, has it been recovered?
Definitely what it was said yesterday, that the investigation will take place, and obviously the investigation will be fast-tracked to ascertain the cause of the crash. Besides that, what we also get to know that there's a team for investigation which has been deployed by the Aircraft Accident Bureau of investigation. So they have deployed, we can say, a team with senior officials which will be also assisting the investigation, or in a sense leading the investigation. Now what we also get to understand is that Air India has set up a friends and relatives center in Ahmedabad, in Mumbai, in Delhi and in Gatwick, so that the people who want assistance to reach Ahmedabad for the to meet the people, or probably take the bodies of their relatives who have lost their lives in this crash. We definitely understand that a hotline has been set up by the airlines, by the aviation ministry, by the Gujarat government also, to ensure that all the information dissemination happens in a coordinated manner, and people who actually need the kind of information about their relatives and the people who have lost their lives get it. Besides, another important aspect, what we understand at the moment is that out of 242 people on board, 241 have lost their lives. We did see, yesterday there was a huge, massive line of ambulances that were plying on the streets of Ahmedabad, continuously taking, trying to save lives. But unfortunately, because of the massiveness or intensity of the impact of the crash, none of them were able to save their lives, except one who is said to have jumped out of the emergency exit. Now, what we are also given to understand that just because the crash happened on a building which is also which was a hostel for medical students, we understand that this facility had been there was lunch during that time, and the people were there in the mess. So the medical students, the number of fatalities is expected to rise because number of students have been severely injured. Obviously, most of them are also admitted in the hospital. I am currently at the civil hospital, wherein all the victims of and the people who were seriously injured had been taken yesterday, and currently are undergoing treatment, people who are severely injured. What we also understand is that yesterday Home Minister Amit Shah took stock of the situation. He met the Aviation Minister as well, and he met the Chief Minister, took a high-level meeting, shared a high-level meeting and took stock of the situation on how this has happened and how the rescue relief operations went ahead. Besides, a DNA testing facility has also been set up here. 72 hours is the time that the test reports come, and so after that, the families and relatives will be able to take the mortal remains of their near and dear ones.
Meghna, also tell us about the sole survivor. How is his condition? And because survivor's testimony could prove crucial and important going forward.
Definitely, and Abhishek, if I tell you that the testimony of this survivor is also going to play a very crucial role when we are talking about the whole investigation. In fact, yesterday on social media, we did also see a number of people who had come on the same flight from Delhi to Ahmedabad did also complain of the air conditioners not working, and different complaints were there on social media. So, if the investigative agencies choose to also consider those feedback from the passengers, they probably would be able to ascertain that was the aircraft not functioning properly before it took off. So these are some of the questions that will obviously have answers after investigation. But obviously the sole survivor miraculously who escaped and almost came out unharmed. He had some scratches on his body. He's still admitted. He's has been kept under treatment of the kind of scars that he has got on his face, we could see. So that is something that he's getting treated for, but he's not been seriously injured. So his testimony is going to definitely play a very crucial role during this investigation.
All right, we are also getting to know that Gujarat's Chief Minister and also Civil Aviation Minister, they have reached the crash site. Once again, these are the visuals that we are showing you that of the airport where Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel and Civil Aviation Minister, they have again reached at the airport. Meghna, what more information do you have on this? They have again reached the crash site.
The site especially has been completely cordoned off, obviously because the forensic teams will be able to gather as much evidence from the crash site. Besides, obviously, we understand that it was a building, and looking at the building, it's completely in a dilapidated condition. The condition of the building is not actually good. We did see that just because it was a hostel building, we could see smoke and fumes yesterday when the crash happened and the aircraft turned into a fireball. But besides, we definitely understand that this because the fire tenders had a hard time dousing the fire, so it actually tells us about the intensity of the fire, and also that the amount of fuel that was present in the aircraft also talks about did result in the intensity of the fire and how long the fire did last. So definitely, currently also, if we see the Chief Minister going there and other ministers going there, it might just also be because the investigation is currently underway to see through how the situation is there and what is going on. Yesterday till late night, we were there and we did see that the debris removal was still underway. So clearly, the work hasn't yet finished because there's a lot of debris to be removed from the accident site.
Okay, a lot of debris you are saying have to be removed. Work is still in progress. But Meghna, generally, how long does it take for the investigation to take place generally in the plane crashes to determine the actual cause? Meghna, can you hear us? All right, so Meghna, if you can hear me, I was asking you how long does it take for the investigation to take place generally in the plane crashes to determine the actual cause?
Abhishek, it clearly also depends on the complexity of the case. What the bystanders have told us that the aircraft was not able to climb the altitude. So clearly it did just crash almost very close to the perimeter of the airport. It's not gone any far. It's not climbed a good altitude as well. So what we also get to understand is that a Mayday call was made to the ATC, and once the ATC responded, there was no call from the aircraft, because the aircraft did take off around 1:38 p.m. and it hardly was in the air for about a minute or a couple of minutes, not more than that. So it is very crucial to determine that were the parameters, were the safety checks and all the parameters before there is a fit to fly, go ahead given to the aircraft. So was all of that followed to the T or not, or were there some some kind of issues that were let go of? So this is something that will be very crucial to determine the cause, to also understand that all the checks were passed or not. So there are definitely a number of questions on this massive crash, because this is one of the this would go down in the aviation history as the rarest of the rare cases wherein an aircraft bound for such a long journey to Gatwick could not make it, could not even take off. So for that, just took off and crashed within a minute. So that definitely explains that were there any kind of issues that were that were let go of very easily. So that is something that needs to be investigated. It depends, because there's an investigation agency, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is investigating it, obviously with other agencies and departments in loop, and obviously will be assisted by experts from other countries. So this is something that will be determined in the days to come. But as we did see the ministers telling us that because this is such a massive and very tragic accident, so many people losing their lives in this tragic accident, the investigation will definitely be fast tracked, and or we could obviously get basic details of the of the accident, and after that probably the finer details would come later.
Absolutely, Meghna. Traumatic chapter in India's aviation history, and our thoughts and prayers with those who have lost their lives. But Meghna, what do we know about the medical students who have been injured? What is their condition?
The medical students who have been injured, most of them have been, just behind me is this block where these medical students have been shifted. They are availing treatment at the moment. We also get to know some of them are seriously injured. We're just praying that they survive this, the kind of impact that they had to go through. Unfortunately, it was lunchtime and most of them were present in the mess. That's what we are being told, that this also resulted in multiple, many people getting seriously injured. And the people around the vicinity, some of them have also been seriously injured in this crash.
All right, Meghna, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the latest on that story. President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi lead the nation in expressing grief and shock, the President said, and I quote her. In fact, we'll get you that story, but all right, this is the official statement. We'll get you the story, but we are slipping into a very short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India News Hour.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
One of India's newest states, one of India's oldest lands, Jharkhand is a hidden treasure house of many wonders, From quaint towns to prehistoric rock art. From thrilling adventure sports to historical heritage sites. Discover your spiritual awakening among revered ancient temples.
The month of Shravan in the monsoons is dedicated to Lord Shiv, and that is when the temple gets its maximum footfall. Johar.
Feed your body and soul with Jharkhand's incredible spread of cuisines.
बहुत tasty लगा.
Come and explore Jharkhand for an experience like never before. Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome to DD India, where a billion voices unite, connecting viewers to the stories that matter. India is not just another news channel. It's the international channel that puts the spotlight on the global south.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of our top stories. Israel targets Iran's leading nuclear scientist working on the Iranian bomb, also strikes the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program. Iraq closes its airspace and suspends air traffic at all its airports. Barring one miracle survivor, 241 passengers and crew killed in the London-bound Air India flight crash in Ahmedabad. Former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani among those killed. Home Minister Amit Shah reviews situation at the crash site and the hospital. DNA sampling process for the relatives underway. Announcement on official number of deceased only after DNA testing. Rescue operation over at the crash site. Aviation Department initiates formal investigation. Government constitutes high-level committee to uncover cause and ensure accountability. US investigators ready to help in Air India crash probe. Condolences pour in from across the world. US President Donald Trump expresses grief at the tragedy. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer calls crash devastating. Canadian PM Mark Carney also expresses grief. And judge temporarily bars US President Donald Trump from deploying National Guard troops in Los Angeles. Some 700 US Marines were expected to support up to 4,000 National Guard troops from Friday. Air India Managing Director and CEO Campbell Wilson arrived at the site of the tragic AI-171 plane crash in Ahmedabad on Friday. Air India has launched an internal probe and is cooperating with the Directorate General of Civil Aviation and other investigative agencies. Emergency support teams have been activated to aid victims' families with travel, counselling and compensation. The AI-171 flight crashed shortly after takeoff on Thursday. The nation remains in mourning as tributes continue to pour in. Now, President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Modi lead the nation in expressing grief and shock. The President said, and I quote her, "The loss of lives after the plane crash at Ahmedabad is utterly devastating. My heart goes out to the bereaved families." The country has also lost the former Chief Minister of Gujarat, Vijay Rupani ji, in the tragedy. Rupani ji was always committed to people's welfare. I express my heartfelt condolences to his family and admirers. The Prime Minister personally spoke to the Minister of Civil Aviation, Ram Mohan Naidu, immediately after the crash. He took stock of the incident and directed the Minister to ensure all necessary support is extended immediately and asked to be kept regularly updated on the situation. He added that all relevant agencies are on high alert and coordinated efforts are underway. The Indian Medical Association expresses deep sorrow over the tragic loss of lives in Air India plane crash at Ahmedabad. In an official statement issued, the IMA extended heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families and prayers for the swift recovery of the injured. The association has swiftly mobilized its medical response teams to assist in ongoing emergency efforts. The IMA has reiterated its readiness to serve the nation, reinforcing the crucial role healthcare professionals play during times of widespread tragedy, emphasizing its commitment to national service during times of crisis. And the magnitude of loss has sent shockwaves across the country. Leaders from all corners are expressing their sorrow.
अहमदाबाद गुजरात में हृदय विदारक दुर्घटना का समाचार आया है। बहुत दुखद है। ये दुर्घटना असमय अनेक लोगों को अपने साथ ले गई है। असमय लोग काल के गाल में समा गए। मैं भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूं कि जिनकी असमय इस दुर्घटना में मृत्यु हुई है, उन सभी को भगवान अपने श्री चरणों में स्थान दे और घायलों को शीघ्र स्वास्थ्य लाभ हो, ऐसी कामना करता हूं।
इस हादसे के बारे में जितना भी कहा जाए वह कम है। कितने परिवार उजड़े, कितने लोग खत्म हो गए, ये बहुत दर्दनाक है। मैं उन सभी लोगों की आत्मा को शांति के लिए प्रार्थना करता हूं और इस दुख की घड़ी में शब्दों से तो सब कुछ कह सकते हैं, लेकिन उन परिवार के सभी लोगों को जिन्होंने कि अपना खोया है, अपने खोए हैं, उनको यह दुख सहने में भगवान मदद करे।
The relatives of the victims who died in the crash are overwhelmed with grief and shock, struggling to come to terms with their heartbreaking loss during this incredibly difficult time.
ये बेहद दुखद घटना है। गांव वाले देख रहे हैं किस तरह का एक माहौल है, दुखी है और ये दुखद घटना है। तो इस पर बहुत ज्यादा स्थिति में न परिवार है, न हम लोग हैं, बस स्तब्ध हैं। कोई शब्द नहीं है क्या कहा जाए। इसमें बड़ी दुर्घटना हुई है, वो तो जांच के बाद ही पता चलेगा कि क्या कारण है कि एक बहुत ही किसी एयर इंडिया का बहुत महत्वपूर्ण जहाज कैसे क्रैश हुआ और कैसे ये बड़ी जानहानि हुई।
Following the tragic crash, Boeing President and CEO Kelly Ortberg issued a heartfelt statement. He expressed condolences to the loved ones of the passengers and crew on board Air India Flight 171. He confirmed speaking with Air India Chairman N. Chandrasekaran, offering Boeing's full support to the investigation and recovery efforts. He also said that a specialized Boeing technical team is on standby, ready to assist the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, which is leading the probe. And condolences are pouring in from across the world. US President Donald Trump has offered to help India following horrific accident.
The plane crash was terrible. I've already told them anything we can do. It looks like most are gone. They actually maybe have a couple survivors, which is just heard. But that was a horrible crash. Nobody has any idea what it might be. I gave him a couple of pointers. I said, maybe you'll look at this or that. You know, we saw the plane. It looked like it was flying pretty well. It didn't look like there was an explosion. It just looked like the engines maybe lost power. But boy, that is a terrible crash. It's one of the worst in aviation history.
And US officials said on Thursday that they have not seen any immediate safety data that would require halting Boeing 787 flights after a fatal Air India crash. US Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and acting FAA Administrator Chris Rochelle extended their condolences to the victims' families. Duffy confirmed that both the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are closely cooperating with Indian authorities and Boeing in the investigation. He assured that the US government is committed to prioritizing safety and emphasized the US government will not hesitate to implement any safety recommendations that may arise.
Our hearts go out to the families of the victims who lost loved ones on that flight. At DOT and at the FAA, safety always comes first, And in this investigation, we are going to follow the facts. As the acting administrator will discuss, we're in the process of deploying a team from the FAA, from the NTSB. We also have GE and Boeing that are deploying their resources and investigators to India. I'll just note that India leads the investigation. We're there to provide any assistance that India may need as they go through which appears to be a somewhat lengthy investigation on this crash.
And President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, also tweeted, and I quote her, "Heartbreaking news from India with the tragic plane crash in Ahmedabad. My deepest condolences to the families and loved ones grieving this terrible loss. We share your pain, dear Narendra Modi. Europe stands in solidarity with you and the people of India in this moment of sorrow," unquote. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas has also expressed grief. She said that her thoughts are with the families of the passengers and crew and with all those affected by this tragedy. French President Emmanuel Macron has also expressed grief over the tragedy. Posting on X, he said that we have learned with deep emotion of the tragic plane crash in Ahmedabad, India. In this time of sorrow, I extend our heartfelt thoughts to the victims' loved ones and to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The British High Commission in India said that British nationals who require consular assistance or have concerns about friends or family can call on 020-7008-5000. It further said on X, and I quote, "We are aware that a flight from Ahmedabad to London has crashed near Ahmedabad airport. We are working with local authorities to urgently establish the facts and provide support. Our thoughts are with all those affected." And UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer received updates, expressed deep sorrow, his thoughts with the passengers and the families during this harrowing tragedy. Starmer tweeted, and I quote him, "The scenes emerging of a London-bound plane carrying many British nationals crashing in the Indian city of Ahmedabad are devastating. I'm being kept updated as the situation develops, and my thoughts are with the passengers and the families at this deeply distressing time," unquote. And Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni mourned the loss of lives lost in the tragic incident. She said, and I quote her, "On behalf of the Italian government and myself, I express my sincere condolences to the families of the victims and our full solidarity with the Indian people in this moment of great sorrow," unquote. Now, Canadian PM Mark Carney also extended condolences. In a post on X, he said, and I quote, "Devastated to learn of the crash of a London-bound Air India plane in Ahmedabad carrying 242 passengers, including one Canadian. My thoughts are with the loved ones of everyone on board. Canada's transportation officials are in close contact with counterparts, and I am receiving regular updates as the response to this tragedy unfolds." Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese expressed great sorrow over the tragic plane crash. "The news of a passenger plane crash in Ahmedabad is absolutely devastating," he said. "In this time of tragedy, Australia's thoughts are with everyone affected. Our government is receiving regular updates and we will continue to monitor the situation closely." And Irish Prime Minister Michel Martin extended his condolences over the terrible incident. "My thoughts and prayers are with the people of India after the terrible plane crash in Ahmedabad earlier today, thinking of the families of all those on board along with the emergency services attending the scene." And General Secretary of British Airline Pilots Association Amy Leversich condoled the devastating incident. "Pilots around the globe are deeply saddened by this news. Members of the British Airline Pilots Association send condolences to all those affected. It is vital a full and thorough investigation is now carried out without interference or unhelpful speculation about the contributory factors so that future tragedies can be avoided." And joining them was Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof, who also extended condolences. In a post on X, he said, "Horrific images from the city of Ahmedabad, India, where a passenger plane heading for London Gatwick Airport has crashed. I have expressed my condolences to India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. At this difficult time, my thoughts are with all the victims of this terrible disaster and with their loved ones." Pope Leo XIV also offered condolences and prayers for the victims. Deeply saddened by the tragedy involving an Air India aircraft near Ahmedabad, His Holiness Pope Leo XIV sends his heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of those who have lost their lives, together with the assurance of prayers for all involved in the recovery efforts. Commending the souls of the deceased to the mercy of the Almighty, His Holiness invokes upon all affected the divine blessings of healing and peace. And Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos expressed grief over the plane crash. On behalf of the Filipino people, I extend our most heartfelt condolences to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Government of India, and especially to the families and loved ones of all those who have lost their lives. May the victims be remembered with dignity, and may the ongoing efforts to understand this tragedy bring comfort and clarity to those left behind. Another big news we are tracking: a U.S. judge on Thursday temporarily blocked U.S. President Donald Trump from deploying National Guard troops in Los Angeles, ruling the move was unlawful. Judge Charles Breyer ordered the Guard be returned to California Governor Gavin Newsom's control with the order effective Friday noon. Breyer criticized the argument that peaceful protests could be treated as rebellion. The Trump administration has appealed. Trump had sent troops despite Newsom's objections, marking a rare federal move. In hours earlier, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem vowed to liberate LA just before federal agents removed Senator Alex Padilla from a press briefing. The legal fight highlights tensions over Trump's hardline immigration stance and federal authority. Now, South Africa has been facing unusually cold weather recently, especially across parts of the interior high veld. And our detailed report on this by DD India's Nazneen Ismail.
South Africa has been gripped by a powerful cold front earlier this week, sending temperatures plummeting across multiple provinces and leaving communities scrambling to keep warm. From snow-capped mountains to icy city mornings, this is the coldest spell that the country is currently facing. A series of cold fronts sweeping in from the south has plunged much of the country into icy conditions. Provinces such as the Free State, Gauteng, Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal have reported sub-zero temperatures in the early mornings, while parts of the Western and Northern Cape experienced heavy frost and even snowfall. The South African Weather Service warned of another cold front hitting the interior, with below-average temperatures persisting into the weekend. Snowfall was reported in the southern Drakensberg, Sunny Pass and parts of the Eastern Cape Highlands, transforming these areas into white wonderlands, but also leading to hazardous driving conditions. In Johannesburg, temperatures have struggled to rise above 16 degrees Celsius during the day, while overnight lows dropped to around 2 degrees Celsius. With no immediate end in sight for this cold spell, South Africans are advised to stay indoors when possible, lay up when venturing outside, and look out for the vulnerable in their communities. Meteorologists predict slightly warmer temperatures by next week, but until then, winter is making its presence felt loud and clear. For DD India, South Africa, I'm Nazneen, braving the chill and bringing you the facts from an icy Johannesburg.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.